So that's the week pass. The week ahead is we might get a spike up to some of these levels moving up here, especially this 96.4 level. And then we should expect a 15% correction during the next week. Right? So it's tough. It can be tough. Now, there is a possibility where for the next week that that with this run up, that let's say we come over here, we bounce off the VWAP level, we clear 96.4, we clear the daily levels, it gets pulled up to the trend level, gets pulled up still, that we actually end up, so it comes to over here, that we actually overshoot, let's say. And if this happens, then it's totally possible that when we come back down, we only come down to the 96.4 level, because there's a lot of support over here once we get past it. And it's not likely that we get a, let's call it, 30% drop. This is not likely. Not within a week anyway. So we'll see what the price action looks like for the week ahead. It looks like the weekly trade for this week is going to be opening up around 91.7. Let's call it 91.8. It'll be over here somewhere. So what is that? That's a bias towards the downside. So we'll see. Once that happens, this daily level is close by, so I wouldn't be surprised to see we come underneath there, bounce, go up, reconfirm this breakdown, and then now we start a right down. I would not be surprised to see that. Just like I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce off the weekly level and then a move up to 96.4, and then potentially a continuation or rejection and come back down. What you want to happen in a long Bitcoin scenario, a bullish Bitcoin scenario, is that we pull back to this 80,000 level tout de suite. Like, we want this to happen as soon as possible, because if it's sharp and violent, what will happen is that it'll liquidate a bunch of longs, it'll get a lot of people short in the position, and then that would be enough fuel for us to bounce off this trend level over here, again around 80,000, and then move our way back up. This whipsawing in the market, especially a highly leveraged market, is what you need in order to clear out a bunch of the positions. And then once you clear out a bunch of shorts, a bunch of longs, the bias is always towards long, right? The secular bias for any asset is long, unless there's something fundamentally wrong with the company or the fundamental structure. But since we are still in the scenario where we're getting this liquidity boost, that we're going to get this liquidity boost basically up until the summer, my expectation is that we pull back and that we continue moving forward. So over here, the pullback that we're experiencing right now, you see this red area over here, Peter, is matching with this area over here that we're talked about. So this is what we talked about on Revelations, which is why you don't want to miss the Revelations. These are I don't want to call it Bible study, because it's far more important than that. But this is where we talked about this. So you have this.
Well, just make sure people are clear what Revelation is. So you do Sunday Fuel on Sunday. This tells you recaps the previous week's trade, let you know how that worked out, and the upcoming week's trade. And then Revelation are these touch points during the week to kind of keep you steady and let you know how things are going. Is that right?
That's right, Aaron. So we end up over here where the down should continue until about May 1st. And I get that because the offset of 78 days for the global liquidity trend is the correct offset. I'm sorry, Raul. I'm sorry, some of those other people, though we have different times, you're not sure what it is. 78 is the period. 78 is a holy number. Not because it was a holy number before, it became holy once the sacred prophet announced it. I don't know. It's me and Richard Hart. We call these things at the tops and the bottoms. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, so I'm going to channel my Max Kaiser, my inner Max Kaiser. Is 220 still in play?
Oh, absolutely. So what happens is that as of May 1st, we're going to get another bump up, then some sideways moves with a bias towards the upside. We'll get a little bit of doubt in the middle of May, as might be expected. I think that'll be around the Fed meeting. I think there's a Fed meeting this May. Actually, let me just double check. I'd like to know. Following months. Fed meeting. FOMC 7th, yeah. All right. And then we're going to get some sort of liftoff around May 20th or so, where we're just going to rocket up. By there, we should get to, that'll be around all-time highs. So by mid-May, we should be at like 100, 110,000. That'll carry some momentum over. I don't know if that'll bring us all the way up to 120. I have no idea. We move sideways for a bit. And then in June, middle of June, then we rocket up even higher still. So this will all depend on how much leverage gets poured into the system, how sharp these moves are, how much volatility there is. The more certainty there is for the longs, as far as narrative concerned, as far as a position is concerned, the more likely is that we get to higher numbers. But by essentially July, beginning of July, that's where we should be getting to 200 something level.
Okay, so Bitcoin's tragic end. Not quite.
Well, it's because it's been so bullish recently. This 15% pullbacks could be very painful for a lot of people. Not us, because you have the vision of the sacred profit in your back pocket. Okay. But for a lot of people, it will be painful.